attracts thousands of guests each year to visit and experience its bounteous spring ecosystems. Supporting a wide variety of recreation opportunities, allowing use in this manner supports both an industry as well as greater amount of public support for this shared resource. Therefore, it is within this video that we hope to explore the concept of should there be recreation in Florida Springs, and if so, to what extent.
You can swim in there, but when the water went down lower, it exposed a lot of the SAB to where people could walk on it, and so they were actually trampling and taking out the SAB. So they thought about kicking people out, but they never did, because it's a huge recreational resource.
They actually built that pool in that mill house to produce power. Like it was one of the civilian conservation corps projects during the Depression. And so they have a picture of the spring before they built that pump house and the pool around it, and like it looks nothing like what it looks like now. So obviously it's a very disturbed system.
The majority of Florida Springs, the head springs, are managed as swimming pools.
Yeah.
Is that in fact? Sure. If you kick that by out and just let them look at it, would people like springs as much? Probably not. Would the economics go down? Probably.
Both Silver Springs and Rainbow Springs had zoos, pretty much. Omasasa actually still has a hippopotamus that lives in the head spring. Weeki Wachee has the mermaid shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, most of the spring vent areas and most of the springs have been pretty developed. So one thing they do at Ichetucknee is they close the upper river to tubing during the off season to allow a lot of the vegetation to regrow. The upper part of the river is a lot shallower, and so a lot of people, when they're in their tubes, they have their feet dangling and they're running to catch up to their friend and tearing out a lot of that vegetation. So in the off season they close that to tubing, and you're only allowed to do the upper part of the river in the kayak. So I think that's one way to sort of have a good balance between preserving the resource but allowing people to recreate it.
Well, this one's moment's opinion. At least you can look at it.
Yeah.
And you actually wouldn't. I used to swim in here for research, and it's really not fun because the muck's up to here, and there's gators. The public's perception of degraded is different than the researchers. I spent a lot of time in the water at springs with people coming by and saying, can you get rid of these weeds? And they're pointing to the SAB. They don't like it.
Yeah, they want the sandy bottom and the grass.
They want sandy bottom. And I think a lot of the accounts where people said, I used to love to go to that spring, I could see the sandy blue bottom, were because there was uncontrolled recreation and they basically took all the SAB out. So it looked like sandy bottom and blue water. Whereas up there, you looked at that water, all the SAB, it didn't look so nice. The public's perception of what's good and bad is quite a bit different than biological people. So I don't know where the balance is. As a resource manager, you probably want to kick people out and protect the resource, but I'm sure there are pressures to allow recreation, because if everyone's kicked out, then people will stop liking your system and won't support you.
Finding a sustainable balance between recreation and preservation is a formidable task for natural resource managers, not only in regard to Florida Springs, but for all of Florida's natural attractions. As the availability of crucial resources declines, in conjunction with an increasing demand for such resources, the importance of striking this balance grows exponentially. One could argue that preventing people from recreating at the springs would improve water quality and improve the health of various ecological systems connected to the springs. But what would be the cost of such a policy? The statewide economic impact of shutting down this multi-million-dollar industry would be substantial. Perhaps more fundamentally, if the public is not allowed to get out and enjoy the resource, an attitude of widespread indifference is likely to set in. Providing recreational opportunities at the springs increases their value in the public's eye and gives people a sense of personal responsibility for their protection.
I'm 2 parts hydro, 1 part oxygen, the foundation that allows for your environment. I'm your lifeline, I flow with eloquence. Me and my 3 best friends are sacred elements. First it was Sky and I at the horizon. He was the condor, I was Poseidon. Fish swam free in the oceans I provided, and birds flew high under solar light shining. Then came the earth emerging from my source, and soon after fire raged in her pores. Call them volcanoes, and as the day goes, the sun lays down and my moon she rays.